The story of Vladimir Golyabenko is not just a captivating crime saga. It's a unique exploration of human intelligence, the capacity for manipulation, and audacity bordering on madness. Achieving remarkable results, even in the criminal world, requires exceptional abilities, a keen mind, subtle intuition, and a deep understanding of human psychology. Just think how much cunning and intelligence it takes to deceive a multitude of people, often influential and highly discerning, to build a complex, hierarchical system of lies, all while gaining their complete trust and respect. Vladimir Golyabenko's life is the clearest example of this. This outstanding swindler, a master of his craft, a virtuoso of deception, evokes genuine admiration with his audacious schemes and recklessness that transcends all reasonable limits. Even the legendary Ostap Bender seems like an inexperienced youth next to him, a novice con man just trying his hand at the subtle art of deception and manipulation. And the culmination of his criminal career was an incredible, almost fantastical achievement: the awarding of the title Hero of the Soviet Union, the country's highest state award, a symbol of national recognition and ultimate honor bestowed only upon the most deserving citizens of the Soviet Union. An ironic paradox emphasizing the scale of his crime and his astonishing abilities. His fate, one could say, was predetermined from birth. Vladimir Golyabenko was born in 1914 in the Urals, into a family where criminal activity was not just a means of survival, but a kind of tradition passed down from generation to generation. He was raised by his single mother, a professional swindler, a woman for whom deception was not just a way to make money, but a lifestyle, an art perfected through years of persistent training and constant self-improvement. Naturally, such an upbringing could not but affect Vladimir's character and morals. Even during his school years, he showed a propensity for petty theft, the first steps on the path to a great future as a great swindler. He seemed to instinctively sense people's weaknesses, their desires and fears, and use this knowledge to achieve his goals. In 1933, during the period of intensive socialist construction in the country, when new factories and plants were being built, Golyabenko was first imprisoned for stealing a wallet on a tram, serving a 2-year prison sentence. But this was just the beginning, the first insignificant episode in his fascinating, albeit criminal, biography, the first lesson in his school of harsh reality. In 1937, he was arrested again for fraud involving forged documents and ended up in the infamous Dimitrovlag, a place where real criminals were tempered, where he learned the art of survival and perfected his mastery of deception. While in prison, he participated in the grandiose construction of the Moscow-Volga Canal, a vital hydraulic structure designed to provide the capital with drinking water, a symbol of Soviet power and progress. However, Golyabenko remained indifferent to national interests, the needs of Muscovites, and the grand goals of the Soviet people. His concern was only for his own well-being and freedom, and he escaped. His escape was a clear indication of his determination and willingness to take any risk. On the train, he stole money and a passport from a fellow passenger, skillfully forged the photo at the first station, transforming himself into Valentin Pergin. A new identity, a new role in his theater of criminal life, a new image that helped him avoid deserved punishment. After that, he went to Sverdlovsk, where after forging a diploma from the Military Transport Academy, forging documents became his signature style. He got a job as a correspondent for the local newspaper, Putovka. This choice was not accidental. He understood that working in the media would give him access to information and contacts necessary for the further development of his criminal career. The new profession became for him not just a means of existence, but a platform for the further development of his criminal abilities. He learned to use his new position to achieve personal goals, to expand his influence and his opportunities. But the scope of activities in the Urals turned out to be insufficient for his ambitions. Golyabenko Pergin moved to Moscow, the heart of the country, where the opportunities were much broader, and the risks were correspondingly higher. He strived for more, for the conquest of the highest peaks, albeit through criminal means, in the capital, after presenting flawlessly forged documents of his own making. Forging documents became his specialty, his signature style. He got a job as a reporter for the Central Railway Workers newspaper, the well-known Gudok. In the 1930s, this publication was extremely popular in the country, collaborating with famous writers and journalists such as Ilf and Petrov, Kativ, Zashchenko, and others. He knew that working in such an authoritative publication would give him not only access to information, but also the prestige necessary for his criminal plans. Having joined the team of talented authors, Pershing quickly gained the trust and respect of his colleagues. Using his considerable mind, wit, and unsurpassed ability to manipulate people, he often spent time with them in restaurants and pubs, forging friendships and learning more and more about them in an informal setting, using this information to further strengthen his positions. These acquaintances helped him meet Agranovsky and Mogilevsky, leading journalists of Komsomolskaya Pravda, the third most influential newspaper in the USSR. They in turn introduced him to the editor-in-chief of Komsomolka, Poltev, who, blinded by the charm and professionalism of the swindler, hired him without thorough checks, trusting his lies and forged documents. Pershing's further career developed rapidly, almost like a fairy tale. In March 1939, he was appointed deputy head of the prestigious military department, an incredible rise, an amazing career advancement just a year after his escape from the camp. His career developed quickly and successfully until he reached the highest point, receiving the title Hero of the Soviet Union. Sometimes Pershing would appear at work wearing the Order of the Red Banner, mysteriously hinting at a connection to the NKVD when asked about the reasons for the award. This tactic of diversion worked perfectly. His colleagues preferred to ignore the flaws in his articles, preferring not to ask about the origin of the order, so as not to spoil relations with him. The order itself was stolen by his mother, whom he had brought to Moscow and arranged for her to work as a cleaner in the building of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet. At night, she cleaned the offices of the leadership, including the office of Kalinin himself. It was there that she stole several orders and award books. The theft was discovered, and she was given 5 years in the camps, but the mother never betrayed her son, remaining loyal and devoted, deserving of better use. This testified to the strong bond between mother and son and their joint criminal activity. In July 1939, Pershing was sent to Transbaikalia to cover the war with Japan. Soon, a message arrived from the Irkutsk hospital about his being wounded in a battle on the Kokhanjoel River. He returned to the editorial office with a new Order of Lenin on his chest, having achieved unprecedented authority in the newspaper. Of course, he was not in the hospital, and the order was another stolen award, obtained through his cunning machinations. His lies were convincing. His deception was perfect. In December, the journalist was sent to Karelia to cover the Finnish War. However, a request came from the NKVD for Pershing to be sent to Leningrad for 3 months on a special assignment. This caused bewilderment, but the swindler's impeccable reputation decided the matter. The business trip was paid for. It's funny that Pershing did not leave Moscow at all, staying with his friend Mogilevsky, enjoying the fruits of his efforts. He skillfully used his reputation to achieve his goals, to strengthen his position, and to create an illusion of his innocence. Hero of the Soviet Union, culmination and fall. After the defeat of Finland, the newspapers published lists of those awarded the Gold Star. Pershing, believing in his impunity, decided to achieve the highest recognition, to realize his grand plan, to become a hero of the Soviet Union. He knew that this would be the culmination of his criminal career, the pinnacle of his success. A commendation list from the 39th Division, containing forged stamps and signatures, arrived at the People's Commissariat of the Navy, describing his incredible feat. The destruction of an impregnable pillbox on a rock and the destruction of 20 Finns, 9 of whom in hand-to-hand combat. This story was skillfully composed, every word thought out to the smallest detail. According to legend, Only Persian survived, lying wounded in the snow for 3 days. Documents on the awarding of the Orders of Lenin and the Red Banner were attached to the list. Persian had stolen the form of the 39th Division back in the summer of 1939. On April 21, 1940, the Presidium of the USSR Supreme Soviet awarded the swindler the title of Hero of the Soviet Union. After that, the frontline soldier married a journalist from Komsomolka. The poet Lida Bakashova received an apartment in the center of Moscow in a car. Life was a success, but Ilya Agranovsky decided to make his friend an unexpected gift, which turned into a catastrophe. He wanted a joke, but his joke turned out to be fatal. Agranovsky's failed gift, exposure and punishment. On May 22nd, Komsomolka published a large article about Persian and his exploits, accompanied by a photograph which played a fateful role. The swindler was identified by police officers and former supervisors from Dmitrovlag. The next day, Golyabenko was arrested. By personal order of Stalin, on August 24th, he was sentenced to the highest measure of punishment. In November 1940, the sentence was carried out, and the decree on awarding the title of hero was canceled. His career ended as abruptly as it began. The editorial office of Komsomolka was completely destroyed for negligence and criminal inaction. Many journalists lost their jobs, and Agranovsky and Mogilevsky received lengthy prison sentences. The story of Golyabenko Persian is not just a story about a talented swindler, but a fascinating tale of the boldness of ideas, the mastery of execution, and the inevitability of retribution for crimes committed, about how even the most skillful deception is sooner or later exposed.